Hey, have you ever thought of raising money for your business, but you're really not sure the best method to do that? Well, there are the traditional routes, but today's guest is one of those guys who created an entire agency designed around crowdfunding. And you are going to love hearing the stories of who he tries to help, the clients that he helps, the problems that he solves, and how they design systems of raising money through crowdfunding in the most unique way that you'll ever imagine. It is a very awesome company. Our guest today is Mark Pecota, and he has an amazing company that he's going to describe, and how he helps them is super, super fun. I've thought about raising money through crowdfunding, but I've chickened out too many times on developing a product or where am I going to get the money to raise for that, and how much is it going to cost me in equity to raise the money for this product offering that I want to create. This makes it so awesome because the pre-fund of a product concept is so awesome. And people are taking a risk, but the money that they raise through that and then deliver a product back to those people is one of the coolest things, a cool study, and it's an exciting podcast. You're going to love hearing from Mark. You're going to love hearing about his challenges that he had to face in his growth and scaling process, and what he did to kind of resolve it, and the trajectory that he's on right now because of it. Great story about what it takes to scale, and you are going to love the insights that he shares with us on this show. Enjoy the episode, and we'll see you at the end. Welcome to the Growth and Scaling Podcast. This is your host, Todd Westra, and I am so glad you're here today because we are going to interview an amazing founder or executive who is going to share with us their decisions that they made that exploded their growth. So if you need some inspiration, you want to hear how other businesses are doing it, this is the place to be, and we are glad you're here. Enjoy this episode. Hey, we are so excited on today's episode to have our special guest, Mark Pecota, and you're going to love what he does. I mean, it is truly one of those businesses that is just all about helping other businesses, and which is a fun business to be a part of. So, without further ado, Mark, welcome to the show. Would you please tell us who you are and what you do?
What's up, everyone? My name is Mark Pecota. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called LaunchBoom. And maybe you can guess what we do right now. You're probably in your mind, what does LaunchBoom do? Well, we help product creators and entrepreneurs to launch their products. But we specifically use crowdfunding platforms, Kickstarter and Indiegogo, as the launch platforms. So essentially, it's acting as a pre-order platform where the entrepreneurs can get the money up front and then go manufacture the product. So it kind of flips the script on the traditional product launch model, and it reduces the risk pretty drastically for product creators.
I love it. I love it. Now, a lot of people are out there saying, okay, I've heard of crowdfunding. I'm more of a traditional fundraiser. Like, what kind of businesses are you helping raise this money, and what does that process look like? Because I think it's kind of voodoo magic to a lot of people.
Right. So the term crowdfunding can be a little confusing to people because there's all these different types of crowdfunding. Yeah. Some people can, like, when they think of crowdfunding, they immediately think of Kickstarter. Some people think of GoFundMe. Some people think of maybe a platform like WeFunder. And all three of those platforms I just named are all different. Where a platform like Kickstarter or Indiegogo can really be treated more as almost like a pre-order store. Even though Kickstarter and Indiegogo will make it very clear that they are not a store, that's essentially how we're using it. Where people can launch products on there and people can pre-order it, and then later they will be shipped the product. That's different from GoFundMe, which is more like a donation platform, right? Or a WeFunder or a Start Engine, which is an equity platform. So sometimes people think crowdfunding is like, we get people all the time that reach out like, hey, can you help me raise funds or like investment for my product? And that's not what we do. That's a different thing. Right. So in terms of who we're working with, it is people that have consumer products that they want to launch. I'd say it's like 95% are consumer products. The other 5% is we've actually had a lot of success launching like glamping or boutique hotels.
Serious?
Which is a really random category. Yeah.
That is an interesting niche there.
Yeah. It's actually way less than 5%. I think about it in terms of like number of clients, but
right.
we get surprised sometimes in terms of what is possible
Cool.
to launch in like a pre-order fashion. Yeah,
that's definitely different than a lot of people think. I mean, I was not thinking that's what you do, but I suppose a lot of the Kickstarters and a lot of the things that I've seen being crowdfunded are attached to a product. And, I guess you always think, okay, they got this funny video, they've got some cool hype thing that they're doing. And that's the kind of stuff you're doing to help them. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we're essentially a marketing company. And I guess I didn't really talk about what we do, but at the end of the day, we're a marketing company. So we're working with product creators, and we have a very specific system that we've been building since actually 2013 was the very first campaign that we launched.
Nice.
That did 78,000. And, it all starts with the pre-launch. So we get in there early, and kind of the key points that we're focusing on is we help you with your product positioning. We build up a funnel that we call the reservation funnel. And I can get into the weeds of this, but I'll keep it very high level right now. It's positioning. We build you a big email list of people before you launch. We build your marketing assets that you need, like a campaign video, like you're talking about, campaign page, and then we launch on these platforms. Now, besides being a platform that basically facilitates this like pre-order mechanism, the other cool part about these platforms is that they're kind of like stores, or again, like the people from Kickstarter and Indiegogo don't like me saying this, but they're kind of like stores where there are people on there that are looking to buy cool stuff. Right. So think about like
I've been on there doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Think about like Amazon, which is obviously on a huge, like a totally other scale than Kickstarter. Right. But think about Amazon. If you get in the top rankings on Amazon, then you're going to get traffic for free, essentially. Right. And so that's why we see about 20% of the funds that like of the revenue generated on the platform actually comes from the platform itself.
Love it.
And that's only possible if you do the pre-launch right, and if you have a big launch.
Right.
So that's like a high level overview of how we help people, but it's really
that's so
marketing
cool.
strategy.
A lot of people don't even think about that as a launch mechanism, and yet it is so amazing to pre-sell these things. I had a guest on last week who they raised $150 million from 40,000 investors through crowdfunding. And I was like, holy crap. Yeah. Amazing. And I thought, and then now you come on here talking about crowdfunding, doing, helping companies put those campaigns together. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is such a cool modern day way to raise money to build a business. And pre-sale, it really is a fascinating concept because you're selling a product that isn't even fully developed yet, but it gives you the money to produce it and reward those early investors, and hopefully you can move on to making more money on each the production runs after.
Right. I mean, you did use the word investor right there, which is like a kind of a misconception with like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. It's really just think of it as like customers. It's like this. If you think about the product adoption curve, it's like these innovators and early adopters that are getting in there. But something is interesting that you said about, like there's like these different ways of raising funds, and you had someone on here that raised 150 million. Is that what you said? That's insane.
Yeah. Boxable is the company. It's amazing.
Oh, and that guy reached out to me recently. That's interesting.
Cool.
He was like, "Hey, can you help us do something?" And I'm like, "We don't do equity." But but he's like, "Yeah, we already raised a ton of money." I was like, "I don't know why you need help," but I was like, "You should be helping us, man." But anyways. What I was going to say is that we have a client that we've worked with on multiple launches on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and their strategy is that they do these pre-order launches on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, but then they actually go onto equity crowdfunding platforms after, and they go to their customers, and they have their customers invest in their equity crowdfunding campaign. So it becomes this like virtuous cycle. So it's pretty cool how it works.
So let's jump into like, aside from the people you're helping, let's jump into your actual business. I mean, you can't do this kind of production, this kind of marketing, this pre-sale campaigns without a team. How have you grown from 2013? Is that really when you started? 2013 to now.
Yeah, we did.
Like,
Yeah.
tell us about that journey and what's been like your favorite part about that whole growth journey.
Okay. Favorite part. That's interesting. I'll answer I know it's the latter of the question. So the first part of the question. So yeah, we started in 2013 and we actually started as a different company. So we started right out of college. Yeah, we started right out of college. There was a few of us that met in this internship, and then we're like, hey, let's try to do this digital marketing agency thing because we were young and dumb. And but we got our first $5,000 contract from this law firm, I remember. And I'm like, all right, we're in business. And we were just doing some website design work and video production. And
love it.
Anyway, so the first company was called Label Creative. And really it was just, a bunch of young 20-something-year-olds hustling, trying to make this stuff work and having fun,
Yeah.
We launched the first crowdfunding came in 2013, not because we were focused on this like mission now to help product creators bring their ideas to life, but just because it was like a cool project that came on our desk. Right. And at that point we were mostly focused on creative actually.
Right.
But we went along for the ride of that first campaign. And then 2014, we had another client said, hey, I saw you do that one campaign. Can you help me with mine? And we're like, sure, let's launch. And so we did another one. We did about like 101 or 102, something like that on Indiegogo. It's called 1 Hour Break. And then the first client came back to us with the new and improved version of their product called EcoCube C. And that time was when we started to experiment with actual, mostly lead generation through Facebook at the time before it was called Meta. Yeah. And built up an email list, and that one ended up doing $375,000.
Nice.
And so, yeah. So then about that time, I had read this book called Built to Sell. And in the book, have you read it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So for anyone that hasn't read it, the real quick kind of thesis and plot of the book is it's a business book, but it's written as a fiction. So it's really interesting.
Right.
It tells the story of this agency owner that builds up his company over years, like a decade plus. He's doing millions of dollars. And he's like, all right, it's time to sell this company. Goes to his investment banker friend and basically figures out that this business is worthless because it's not unique. Doesn't have repeatable business, and it's not systematizable.
Right.
And so that's the thesis of the book, or the solution of the book, is that if you have a service-based business, you have to treat it like a product.
Right.
And so we're like, very long story short, we said, hey, let's go into this crowdfunding thing because it's super unique and niche. It's a very systematizable process, and it can be a repeatable business. Look, we got like someone that came back to us with their next launch.
Right.
And we also thought, eventually we can add e-commerce services in this, and we can kind of make this whole like
100%,
circular thing, right? And so that's what we did. In 2015 was when we rebranded to LaunchBoom, and and along the journey now from like 2015 to now, we've actually also had other big ups, downs, side to side, whatever, zigzag, all over the place.
If you don't, you're doing something wrong.
Right. I don't know anyone that has like a perfect
trajectory all the way up.
Up and to the right. Yeah. Hockey stick. But anyways, yeah, I would say the next biggest kind of like milestone for us, or fun story, let's put it that way, is at the beginning of 2020, we had 25 people. By the end of 2020, we had 65 people. So we went through a lot of growth during that time. COVID would definitely helped. I feel like people either got crushed by COVID or they just exploded because of it in a good way. There wasn't much in between. And so I'm really grateful that we were on the other side of things. And it's mainly because,
because I got crushed.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I had friends that got crushed.
It happens. I mean, that's just part of business ownership life cycle. You never know when it's going to hit.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. So we blew up for a moment. Yeah. I would say we rode the bubble, and then when the bubble started to, kind of not maybe a pop, but like a little bit of air started to come out. We like, oh man, 65 people. We're actually a little bloated here. And so we did go through some layoffs. And then mid last year, I made a decision that we were down around like 45 people actually. So we had gone from 65, we had gone through actually 2 rounds of layoffs, some people had left, and I didn't
stop them.
We didn't rehire, right?
Right.
But going through that whole experience and just the journey of building the agency to that point, we were like a turnkey agency. We had a studio in downtown San Diego. We had an e-commerce team. We had a crowdfunding team. We had all these people. I made this decision that, hey, I'm not actually that excited about what we're building anymore. Like this whole just like big agency thing. Yeah. Like last year.
So that makes sense. About 7 years in, 8 years in. Yeah. You get an itch.
Yeah. I'm just like nothing wrong about agencies. Well, I mean, I have some thoughts on turnkey agencies, specifically crowdfunding,
right?
But, people can build amazing businesses, and I can talk about the mistakes that we made, but, mainly it came down to me not being very excited about, what we were building with this like turnkey agency anymore.
Right.
And I thought and everything we had learned, I thought there was a better path and a better business model that would help actually our clients and just be a more enjoyable and fun business model for us.
For sure.
And so we pivoted. It was very difficult, but we went down to 18 people. So like big layoff, lots of friends, it's never fun. Anyone that's done it understands.
No.
And, but now the team is just lean and mean, and we're focused on building what I'm calling the LaunchBoom platform. So basically like a collection of services and software that we're building to make it very easy for product creators to go through this process of bringing their idea, going from product idea to the next big milestone is like a 7-figure e-commerce brand. So there's more to unpack there, but
so break this down real quick though, because I love that you just told that story, because a lot of people I talk to, a lot of other founders, they hit this wall where they're like, man, my business it either is controlling them, they're not enjoying that like grind. There comes a point where you got to stop grinding and kind of enjoy it for a little bit, or they're hitting a roadblock where it's like, what is the pathway of growth we really want to see? Because you hit these walls and you find that, okay, out of the last 20 clients we onboarded, who are my 3 favorite? Who are my 3 least favorite? How do I do less of that and more of these guys? You know what I mean? Is that kind of how you felt?
Yeah. So let me give a little bit more context to the story, and that will answer your question. So, I told you 2020 was like beginning of 2020, we started to see this growth.
Right.
And, another thing happened at the beginning of 2020 is that we started this division of our company called the consulting division. And the idea of that was, okay, we have this turnkey done for you agency.
Right.
But what about all these people that maybe don't have like huge budgets? So we built this course, but mostly it's like this consulting program where it's now kind of like, it's like done with you. And we're going to guide you through the process as like consultants. And you understand? Yeah. Instead of like, we're going to do all the work for you.
You don't want to be the fulfillment team. You want to be like, hey, we know how to do this. Let's guide you through this process. Right. Yeah,
exactly. And it was really meant as a downsell.
Yeah.
So the reason why I bring this up is because what you were saying about having these realizations of, like really reflecting on like, is this fulfilling to me? Also like, where are our happiest clients? Like, who are they? And, it's getting really clear also on like what I want as a founder, because if I'm not excited about what we're building, then who the hell's going to follow me, right?
Totally. Totally.
So when I was going through this period of reflection, I realized that all of our problems, like all the biggest challenges that we were facing, was all on the agency side.
Right.
And then we have this other division over here, this consulting division, where like the team that's working on it, super happy. The clients in there, super happy. The results are doing really well. Yeah. The whole business unit is just growing at like a really nice pace, super profitable. I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, why are we fighting this so much?
Right.
And I think like making it more difficult than it has to be. And the other thing is that the first assumption was that this consulting division would just be for people that didn't have big budgets. Well, we were getting people with huge budgets that were like, you know what? We actually have marketing teams already, like maybe internally. We just want to learn how to do your system, and you guys coach us and consult us along the way. And we want to use your tools and your systems and your templates. And so that was like, that was a lesson in being open to having my beliefs be like completely challenged and changed.
Right.
Yeah. So now we're having people that have smaller budgets, but we're also having, again, people with much larger budgets, bigger teams are like, we don't want to work with a turnkey.
Guide their internal teams, do the production.
Right.
And you're just kind of saying, here's what's got to happen. Here's a good mission to here's some goals we should be accomplishing by these points. And yeah, dude, right. I feel like you're telling my story, because we'll talk afterwards about it, but this is a very important thing for those listening. What it takes to scale. I really feel like this is what you just described is what I describe to my clients all the time, and that there's like a moment in your business where you've launched, you're generating good solid revenue, you're really experiencing good business practice. But as you look at your entire product lineup, I call it a burnout analysis. You got to look at the stuff that you're producing that is taking a lot of resources and not really making you very happy. Look at the stuff that you love doing and put more resources and energy there, and really lean into the stuff that you really enjoy doing, and just let go. It's okay to let go and change from where you originally started and anticipated doing as a business.
Yeah, that's very well said.
Yeah, I love it. Dude, you are like, this is seriously like almost therapy for a lot of people out there. I think there's so many business founders out there who get stuck thinking they got to just keep doing what they started, and they're scared to lean into what they actually enjoy doing with their business. And so I really appreciate you sharing this, because I think for those of you out there trying to figure out what you need to do to scale your business, this is it. Like, this is how you scale and grow in a deep and meaningful way. And the story of how you scale down your team in order to kind of scale up the thing you love doing.
Exactly.
Dude, it's so rad. I mean, seriously, it's really cool. I love that you described that.
Right. Thanks. Yeah.
So what advice do you give people? Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say on that was, I wrote a whole post about this. I was just thinking about I wrote like 10 lessons. I'm not going to remember all of them, but the first one on there was like, sometimes you have to be selfish. And well, I think another way of putting that, I feel is more like, you first have to, people have said this before, right? It's not a new thought, but it's like, you have to take care of yourself first. And I think as a leader, at least I'll just speak for myself, there have been at times where I'm like, oh, I need to be this like very selfless leader, and like think more about, is everyone else like happy? And, especially when you get to a team of 65, you want everyone to be happy, which is important to a certain extent. But if I'm not fulfilled in what I'm doing, if I'm not happy in what I'm doing, if I don't have energy from the things I'm working on, I don't see a vision, or I'm not excited about the vision. All this stuff, again, the listeners might seem super obvious, but for me, it was very easy to get wrapped up in this like growth and kind of like lose sight of all this stuff.
Totally.
And just realizing that I have to constantly be checking in with myself as the leader of the organization. Like, it's my job to be very clear with like what I want, and be very clear about the vision, and make sure that I'm in alignment with that, or no one's going to follow me. Even if like, it's almost like this subconscious thing, right? Like, people can pick up on it.
Right.
So it's totally really made me prioritize like me, you know, and it's okay. It's like, by prioritizing myself, I'm actually being selfless. I'm actually being a better leader.
You really are.
Actually making more change. So it's like this, it's almost like this paradox to a certain extent, right?
You feel bad for thinning down your team, but at the same time, you feel like, holy crap, everyone is bought into this new vision. Everyone wants to go where we're kind of pointing our rocket ship. It's like, dude, everyone's on board. Let's go to that place right there. And I love this story. This has been a fantastic episode. Nice. As you finish this journey, like, as you're evolving right now and develop, kind of, I know you've made like some life changes. You're living in Colombia right now. You're kind of like doing. It sounds to me like you're kind of midlife crisising in your 20s, which is not normal. But
32.
Okay, 32. Okay. So as you do this, and as you're like, how does it feel? as a founder, how does it feel to like kind of have stripped off all those things you thought you had to do, and now you're leaning into the stuff that you really want to do? How to express to other founders out there who are feeling stuck, what is this doing for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think the best word is like, I feel energized. Like I feel genuinely excited about what I'm doing every day. And it's funny because if you would have asked me like, I think a year ago, if I was like excited about what I was doing, I think I would have answered yes, but it's almost like I like forgot. It was like over time, I just kind of kept getting like pushed down and pushed down and pushed down.
Right.
And kind of forget what it used to be like when it's like exciting and, and all these things are in alignment with the vision, et cetera. And so now I wake up every day and I'm pumped, like I'm like actually excited about it. And there was all these other things that I like let go, like good habits and things I used to do before we got so big. And I just, my focus changed a lot. So where like a lot of my time was focused on like solving operational complexity problems and people problems and like, like learning while we're like flying this rocket ship type of thing.
Totally.
And of course, if I did it again, I would, probably, I hope, do it better. Although I don't really want to do it again.
Well,
in terms of, I want to grow, I want to scale, but I'm doing it in a different way. Some people love to have like huge teams, and that's what they want. And to a certain extent, like you're going to have a certain size team for the most part if you want to get to like probably 100 million plus and all that type of stuff.
Right.
But for me, I'm just not that excited I'm really trying to solve problems of scale without like adding more headcount. Love
it. Well, Mark, this has been a really fun conversation. And I think that there's a lot we can discuss later offline and on our weekly LinkedIn Live series. This is a great conversation to bring up and just kind of bring awareness, because I think there is a lot of overwhelm. There's a lot of stress from founders who don't see an end in sight. They don't feel like they're passionate about their business anymore. And as you consider your opportunities to grow and scale, I think a huge piece that most people forget is, what is my exit? Where is my escape route? Because the business you just built, even though you're tired of it, doesn't mean that someone else doesn't want to come and gobble it up and take what you built, And so there's a lot of elements to this to unpack. But you, having gone through this journey and as you hit these moments where you're like, okay, what am I doing? Is there someone you'd like to give a shout out? Someone that you kind of leaned on a little bit, that kind of gave you some advice and said, dude, this is what I do when I'm feeling like that. Is there someone you'd like to give a quick shout out to on the podcast?
I mean, this is not a cop out. I know you're looking for one person, but honestly, the team that I have,
I love it.
Even the the team members that we let go of, I'm seriously, because like, it was such a difficult moment and everyone really came together, especially the people that, stayed and supported, but also the people that left, like we let them know like a month in advance and, really helped them with severance and all that. And like, I don't know, one of our core values is family, and some people are like, laugh at that value. I think it's fake.
I think it's awesome.
Or like even manipulative, I've heard. But I don't know, for us, I feel like it's real. So I know it's real. So I'm super grateful for the people in my life and the team members that I've had, current and past.
I love it. Well, dude, how do people get a hold of you? Are you active on LinkedIn? Like, where's the place you hang if people want to reach out and follow what you're up to?
Yeah, I'm most active on LinkedIn. I'm posting every day, actually. So yeah, just look up Mark Pecota. You guys can also email me as well, just mark@launchboom.com. I'll answer you.
Cool.
And then check us out at launchboom.com. Also, if you're interested in one more plug, I swear.
Do it.
If you're interested in a book that I wrote, coming up on 3 years ago, I'm actually republishing it in a couple months.
Nice.
But anyway, check out crowdfunded on Amazon. If you actually look up crowdfunding, the word crowdfunding on Amazon, it should be number one.
Nice.
So proud of that. Number one book on crowdfunding on Amazon. But go check.
That's freaking awesome.
It's only 99 cents on Kindle. Yeah, go check it out.
Hey, way to go, man. No, I'm super proud of you. Super proud. I love hearing about the journey. And I know that many of you out there asking the same questions. What do I do next? What is my next play? This is a great story of transition, a great story of kind of revitalizing your business. And I hope it does help some of you understand that just because you launched one direction doesn't mean you got to keep going that way. You can make a pivot and find a lot of happiness and joy in that ride. So thanks for being with us today on the What It Takes to Scale podcast. We can't wait to see you on the next episode. Thanks, Mark.
Awesome. Thank you.
So was I right? Honestly, I had no idea going into this conversation how much of a therapy session this would be for me. Those of you that have owned and operated businesses or are currently operating a business, you know the stresses that Mark described. You know the dissatisfaction or the unfulfilled feeling that you sometimes get while owning and operating your business. This is not unique to him. It's not unique to me. I have a feeling that most founders get to this point multiple times through their career. But what do you do about it? What do you do about it? I challenge each of you to take a step back, take a real thorough study of your product lineup, and figure out what parts of it do you really like to fulfill and what parts of it are you not so excited about every day. I love how Mark described the excitement that he had to show up every day and start building this new model that he was working on. I hope that you can have that type of experience in your growth and scaling. And as you listen to the rest of this podcast and other podcasts that may follow, I really hope you find value in the insights that you're going to take from these podcasts on what it does take to scale. And with that, I invite you to come back again. Share this episode with anyone you think they can get value from it. And let's keep moving forward. We are all on this path to know what it takes to scale, and we appreciate you being here. Thanks so much.